Hi guys, so today I wanted to share with you a really helpful treatment slash treat slash it's very powerful, very helpful for corona symptoms, especially if you have the worst symptoms. You know, if you have a problem in your lung, a pain in your lungs, pain in your stomach area, down in the third chakra kind of area. If you're feeling anemic, tired, weak, if you're feeling blood pressure changes in the back of your head or somewhere in your body where like you take a breath, you stand up, suddenly you feel that your blood pressure is all messed up. That's one of the major symptoms of the coronavirus is huge changes in your blood pressure. Um, and so I did a little research um, last night and I came across basically, I had I had cocoa sitting here, okay, and I know that cocoa already is just loaded with all kinds of nutrients. It's loaded with all kinds of minerals and actually a lot of fairly exotic compounds that you don't find in a lot of other foods. And it's a very powerful antioxidant, one of the most powerful in the world. And that slows your aging. It slows all sorts of processes that can degrade and destroy your cellular tissue, your body, and your DNA. And so, you know, having as many antioxidants as you can be a very wise and healthy thing. And I found this to be absolutely, actually quite amazing in how powerful it helps with the body. Um, so I'll just show you what I've copied and pasted from various sources. So cocoa relieves high blood pressure, cholesterol, obesity. So that's a corona related. High blood pressure is a corona related issue. High cholesterol, obesity, constipation, diabetes, bronchial asthma. Well, obviously, I mean, COVID-19 attacks the lung. Chronic fatigue syndrome. Well, COVID causes chronic fatigue via beta-1 hemoglobin anemia. So it causes anemia through antagonizing the beta-1 chain of hemoglobin. So the body's not able to absorb and release oxygen and carbon dioxide properly. And this cocoa really seems to help very much with those symptoms, which is sort of a gaseous and a painful, can feel like a gaseous and painful sensation in your lower lung, um, and a buildup of energy blockages in that stomach area, in the third chakra stomach area. That's how it was for me anyway. Um, So you see here, helps reduce the chance of cancer, improve cardiovascular as well as brain health. And it also improves blood flow to the brain. And that's one of the issues that people have with this corona is it changes the blood pressure, which changes the way blood flows to the brain, which causes headaches and pain in the back of the head. And as soon as you stand up too quick or take too much deep breath or stretch a certain way, it can cause those kind of issues. Well, this cocoa stops that completely. Um, And there's an 89% chance that COVID attacks the brainstem, just like SARS and MERS, which share 89% of their DNA, which did the same thing, attacks the brainstem. Uh, Helps treat with copper deficiency, which copper is also plays a role in uh, anemia, in preventing anemia. Okay. It also helps with quick wound healing and skin care. So COVID harms the lungs and other organs. Quick healing is critical. It has mood enhancing properties, um, and exerts protective effects against neurotoxicity. Well, this virus attacks the neurons in the brain and in the brainstem, and 89% chance, at least, because that's exactly what its ancestors did. Okay, and that's what I noticed. I noticed certain neurological activity people do, like with their taste, their sense of taste and smell, and all sorts of things start going crazy. There also attacks the autonomic breathing functionality of the body, the brain, which means it keeps you from automatically breathing. You have to be conscious of your breath or you could harm yourself unless you're doing other things to ensure that your subconscious mind is doing these things for you. Like people who would swim, you know, like get in a boat accident, something would happen, and they'd end up falling asleep while they're still swimming. Their body's automatically doing it for them. Not that hard to make sure you're breathing. You know, if you're already Kundalini awakened and you're already quite awake, and your nervous system's been cleansed, and your pineal gland and your brain has been decalcified of all kinds of junk, you know, you'll probably have less issue here. But still, doing mantras and various techniques projected into the subconscious to ensure that you're always going to be breathing no matter what. Not a bad idea. Hypnosis would help with that. Positive affirmation. I just like using mantras and visualizing neurological pathways connecting and doing exactly what I'm saying. Works. So it has mood enhancing properties. It's a natural treatment for anemia. So thanks to the copper, and at the same time, cocoa is able to improve the hemoglobin level. Corona causes anemia, attacks hemoglobin, of course. Zinc is in it in high quantities, like 4.5 or 5 grams per 100 milligrams per 100 grams. This helps protect against oxidative stress and viruses. It also, this cocoa stimulates the production of nitric oxide, which helps keep blood vessels relaxed while your blood vessels are struggling in the lungs, right? Big time. And nitric oxide reduced SARS viral replication by 83% during the SARS epidemic. I think that might have, I'm not sure what study that was, it might have been the direct to lung nitric oxide treatments they did, or it could have just been from food and or supplementation, but 83% reduction in replication, SARS viral replication from nitric oxide. Well, this cocoa stimulates that. Beets also stimulate that. Pomegranates stimulate that, or they're full of nitric oxide. Any kind of leafy green is full of it too, like kale and spinach and that kind of thing. All right. And there's something else here that is missing this particular article. Let's see if I have it here. Oh, yeah, it's also loaded. Every 100 grams of this cocoa is loaded with Theophylline. And it's crazy how much there is. There's like 1.9 grams per 100 grams. It's quite a bit. It's like 1.2% of its biomass is this Theophylline, which helps the lungs to dilate, which means allows if you have pneumonia, especially in the earlier stages of the virus, it's around week 2, I did have some liquid build up in my lung, and I could feel a gooey sensation. And also, you know, and what happens then is like you have your alveoli in the lung, the little air passages that go into them get inflamed and constricted, and this fluid starts building up in the lung, and the virus is killing all sorts of tissue, and it's all leaking down, and your body's leaking all this fluid down and stripping down into the lower area of the lung, and having compounds that help to dilate your lungs basically help to open up the alveoli and everything in order to allow all that liquid to just pass out instead of it building up and clogging up your lungs and causing pneumonia. Okay, so it dilates your lungs, your airways, and relaxes and decreases inflammation. That's amazing, and there's a huge quantity of this. Theophylline. Let's see if we can find that quickly here. Theophylline, and there's another one. Oh, theobromine and theophylline. Contents may help people with asthma. Asthma is a chronic inflammatory disease. Well, it's the inflammation that kills people with this virus because of the cytokine storms and all that. Okay, so this helps. Yeah, this disease causes obstruction and inflammation of the airways and can be life-threatening. Okay. It is thought that cocoa may be beneficial to people with asthma. It contains this anti-asthmatic compound, such as these two here. Cocoa powder contains 1.9 grams of this per 100 grams, which is just amazing. That's a lot of this material. Helps your lungs dilate, etc. it's in animal studies from cocoa extract can reduce both constriction of airways and tissue thickness. Has not been clinically tested in humans. Well, I'm a test dummy now, and I can tell you, pains in my lungs are reduced. The issues I had in my um, my stomach area, this gaseous, sour sensation in my body has gone down significantly. I notice the blood pressure in the back of my head. I can take like deep breaths and move around and increase the blood, pressure in my body, and I don't feel this incredible constriction in the back of my head where I normally would feel it right in the back of my head, around the lymph systems, in the lymph glands right back here. I don't feel that anymore. My lungs feel, like I say, my lungs feel better. I can still feel in them just this trauma that's happened in there. I can feel it in my lungs, and sometimes it's up here, way even up high up here and behind the shoulder blades. Sometimes it's right in here, sometimes it's down low in here. But overall, it's not that bad. It's not that bad right now, okay? So what I've done, this is my daily thing I'm going to do twice a day, and this is what I've done. This is one of the most powerful. Cocoa is one of the most powerful antioxidants in the world. It has an OARC value index, I think, of 44,000 or higher, which some sites argue is the highest antioxidant content on the planet, but it's not true. Cinnamon has a higher content, and cloves have an even higher content. Theirs is like around 1,000,000 OARC, I think, index. It's incredible. The most powerful antioxidant on planet Earth is cloves. Okay, cinnamon I think is number 2. It's incredibly powerful. Cocoa I think is number 3. So I'd recommend a combination, and this is what I've been using. Like a teaspoon or 2 of cinnamon, tablespoon of cocoa, and then maybe 3 or 4 or 5 cloves. And then, this is just loaded. If you look at the ingredient content of all the different chemicals, exotic chemicals and compounds in cocoa, it's mind-blowing. And it's always useful, I find it, to mix things together so that your body's able to utilize and take things and absorb things as most efficiently as possible. And one of the best ways to accomplish that is by always adding a little bit of Himalayan pink salt to your mix as well. I like putting like maybe 3/4 of a teaspoon to 2 cups of this cocoa with just Himalayan pink salt, which has 83 trace minerals. So you're getting 83 trace minerals mixing in with all the rest of this. And minerals often work together. They work synergistically. The body uses it and stacks them and allows your body to modulate and use all that stuff much more efficiently, much more effectively. So, 83 trace minerals. This is one of them. This is almost like a multivitamin or a mineral supplement on its own. It's a superfood. It's absolutely mind-blowing how good Himalayan pink salt is for you. I'd totally recommend adding, and this is what I do. I add this and into my cocoa with cloves and cinnamon. Okay, those 4 things find are great. I do add a few other things. Like I added, which is really amazing, green tea extract. This is something not everyone's most people aren't gonna have sitting around, but if you do, I recommend you take a capsule of this, 1 or 2, empty it into your cocoa, and just taste the green tea extract on your tongue. Open one of these pills up and take a little taste on your tongue, and just watch how amazingly powerful the antioxidant activity is on your tongue. It's mind-blowing. And if you mix those in raw, 1 or 2 of those into your cocoa, it still tastes great, but it just increases the antioxidant power of your cocoa exponentially. I added red algae extract as well. I'd take 2 capsules of that, and I'd throw red algae extract, which is just this pure white powder, and stir it in there just for the mineral content, because there's tons of minerals. It's kind of like Himalayan pink salt. So those three I'd mix, and if I had other things, and I will probably be getting some soon, other dry herbs, spices that taste great. Uh, get some licorice root. Licorice root is well known to deactivate SARS, deactivate the replication of COVID-19 as well. It does that, and it's a Ayurvedic it's a Chinese medicine treatment they've been using in China in high amounts. Another one is a stinging nettle. That one has only been studied scientifically in mice, but I've taken some and I felt its effect directly in my lung. But they found it was significantly reduced SARS replication in the lungs of mice. One that has been tested in humans and is working is skullcap, which is a herb you can get, root and leaf. It can be smoked or made into a tea. I used to smoke it to calm me down. I mix it with my tobacco. You can try it that way very carefully if you want to. Just be mindful of your lungs. But if you can get that directly in your lung and you're killing it all there, all the virus directly in your lung, gosh, sounds like a great idea. And another one is star anise is very highly antiviral. So I think star anise, cloves, cinnamon, and cocoa would be an amazing combination. There are other antiviral herbs and things you can find, I'm sure, as well, that you can mix in there. Just keep an open mind and do your research. But the combination of these I found is absolutely astonishingly helpful. The other thing I forgot to mention, I also added a tablespoon of raw unpasteurized honey and a teaspoon and a half of blackstrap molasses. Now those two things also prevent and treat anemia. They help to alleviate anemia. They're both loaded with iron, manganese, copper, and other elements that are critical for the production of blood cells, red blood cells, and hemoglobin. So by adding all that and combining all those together into your cocoa, I mean, you're getting a huge amount of nutrients and a tremendous amount of minerals and all kinds of exotic compounds as well. You're not going to find in too many other places. And combining that all in one, I mean, it just becomes a mineral hothouse with all of this. 83 trace minerals here. There's 78 in my red algae. There's dozens and dozens in cocoa alone. And just the list goes on. You know, all these things combine together and they really work synergistically. Cloves is antiviral. Cinnamon is antiviral. Bear in mind. Anise is antiviral. Licorice root is antiviral. I mean, all these things. A skullcap is antiviral. Okay, so and cinnamon was known during the 1918 Spanish flu that anyone who worked at a cinnamon factory never ended up getting sick during the flu pandemic, which sparked a huge a lot of research and investigation after the fact to determine why that's the case, and they found out that cinnamon itself knocks out 99.99% of viral it deactivates it and keeps it from replicating. So, I mean, the combination of these things are all very highly antiviral, and I can tell from my experience they have an incredible effect on the body, and they really significantly reduce a huge portion of the negative effects that I've been experiencing, especially the gaseous feeling in my gut and my lungs. All that's gone away. All these issues, most of my issues have gone down significantly, combining all these things together. So this is one thing I recommend for people who have COVID-19, and something you may want to consider sipping in the morning and the evening in place of your coffee instead, if you want to really help treat yourself in a really good way, in a very effective way. Not a very bad idea. Not a bad idea at all. I mean, you could even go a little bit further if you want. You could add a tiny bit, just like 5 drops, 6 drops of hydrogen peroxide into your your mix. After it's done, let it stir and sit for 5 minutes. And what that'll do is it'll destroy any oxidizing material, chemicals and things that are harmful to your body. It'll go through and it'll destroy anything that's inorganic and unhealthy, and fill it with oxygen. It'll oxygenate it all, which will also help speed up your body's ability to pull in and absorb all the nutrients there, because the oxygen content will go right into your stomach and it'll go through. And it also bubbles. You see, if you mix hydrogen peroxide with certain compounds, even just putting it in your mouth, you'll see how it bubbles up. It just forms this foam. And it's a powerful antioxidant as well. So when you're mixing it in with the cocoa, it will foam up and get rid of certain things and chemicals you don't want, and turn them into inert forms of, well, it's water and hydrogen and water, I think. Hydrogen and oxygen, right? Those two compounds, it breaks down inorganic material, turns them into hydrogen and oxygen, so it purifies your water, makes it healthier, it destroys chlorine. It evaporates the chlorine very rapidly, so it'll just make your water a little healthier, cleaner, and your cocoa, if there's any residual pesticides and garbage in your cocoa or in any of the products you're mixing in there, it'll help to clear that out and dispose of it while helping your body to absorb these things quicker. So something I recommend. I hope you find this useful and helpful. Wish you much love. Take care and thrive. I just pray that you thrive and have a most amazing time during this crazy, crazy experience we are all going through together on this planet. Wish you all much love. Keep coming back. I'll have more videos coming every once in a while here, every few days. So come by here and I'll keep you up to date. Today, actually, I did check and I noticed, yeah, there's 29 days in February. So yesterday was day 48. Today is day 49 of since I originally got my symptoms. And I'm on day 49, feeling very, very good today, and healing up. And good to keep in mind all these things we have often sitting around our house that we will often overlook. They're cheap and easy and simple, but are incredibly helpful. So thank you for listening. Keep in touch. We'll see you next time.